So I do realise, of course, that the Labour Party would never have me as a political candidate, at least not with titles on my medium.com profile, such as "Let's not delude ourselves, COVID was biological warfare," and things of that nature. I don't know if I really want to address it. I don't really know why I'm addressing it now. Perhaps it's to, on some level, try and secure myself a position as a Labour Party candidate. Still, in spite of those things, in spite of the other one, which is the unmentionable story of female privilege, which yeah, I mean, maybe inflammatory sort of Daily Mail reading-ish titles. However, I feel that they speak to a palpable undercurrent in the anti-political sphere of discourse, and nevertheless, I feel I make important points within those articles that need to be addressed more properly, if not perhaps in a better, more diplomatic, more political way. Yeah, or a way that smacks more of adherence to modern mainstream political dogmas and ideals than I quite did when I expressed those views. I'm not going to redact them, however. I'm doing my best not to. The thing is, I've been going over this whole COVID-spiracy stuff, and I'm starting to err more now on the side that perhaps Corbyn was behind it all. Since Jeremy Corbyn was the one person I'd never suspected of having anything to do with COVID. I suspected Keir Starmer before Jeremy Corbyn. You know, Keir Starmer, our top human rights barrister in Britain. I mean, come on. But, I mean, for one thing, I thought that Jeremy Corbyn actually, frankly, wasn't intelligent enough to come up with something quite as dastardly as COVID. So, this leads me back, obviously, to the evil scumbag Tories. But it also leads me on to another way of thinking, that perhaps Jeremy Corbyn isn't an idiot at all. Sorry, I got food around my face. That perhaps even so far back as his A-levels, he was making the conscious decision and he was deliberately fucking up his results in A-levels and GCSEs possibly, but I haven't been able to find out what those results were. For whatever reason, I haven't been able to. And maybe as a journalist, I'll try and do some digging into this, ring up his school and whatever, and try to find out what he got at GCSE or O-levels. I presume it would have been back then. But, yeah. I didn't suspect him, but now I do a little bit. I think he may have been behind it all. To try and make it look, at the time of an election, you know, to make it look very conspicuously as though the Tories may have done that shit. And, you know, wrote Trudeau into it, why not? It'd be a fall guy. Biden, another fall guy. Or Trump, frankly, it could be either way with that little kettle of fish. And I think that's more what I'm realising now, but it could be either way with that little kettle of fish. That American, Canadian kettle of fish. Involved in the whole COVID conspiracy. And maybe, Corbyn was trying to destroy the Conservative Party for good and for all time. And we'd finally have Labour forever, and the other political parties also. I don't know. I don't know how deep tribal loyalties really run when it comes to political party affiliation. And it doesn't make me want to switch to Conservatives either, since, well, it's just as likely it could have been them. So what I've done, and, you know, Starmer might be proud of me for this, I've actually gone and mooted myself. And I think that's the case with a lot of conspiracy theories, that if you look into them carefully enough, you can just end up mooting yourself. And it could have been Labour, it could have been the Conservatives, possibly, I don't know. I'd err on the side of the Conservatives, I think, because I hate them more. And I think they're more connected to things like the pharmaceuticals industry and various other industries and banks and these sorts of people who stood to make a hell of a lot of money out of COVID. But then again, do I agree with the Marxist interpretation of history? You know, the Walter Sobchak interpretation of history, the sort of the chest-beating libertarian and socialist interpretations of history that says it was all an inside job by the government, whatever that fucking means. And I have to say, well, no, I don't really. I mean, it could just as likely have been people from the outside of politics and Corbyn making sneaky deals with the Chinese Communist Party and so on and so forth. And likewise Biden doing the same and his son doing the same, I don't know. It could have been random insurgency, or it could have just been a lab leak. So actually maybe I will redact that one article. And I might have to redact the others. That was a very Milo Yiannopoulos, wasn't it? Someone who I like in principle, but I don't like him in practice. And he says some stupid fucking things on certain podcasts. And, well, reprehensible things, actually, I think. All things considered. And he's disappeared off the radar now. So, I don't know. Like, I can't be due a comeback before I've had any limelight. But, you know, let's not delude ourselves. COVID was biological warfare. I'm not going to delete the article or hide it or anything, I don't think, but I'll leave it out there just to stand as a record of how my thinking has changed over the years. And yeah, you can be the sort of person who sees conspiracy everywhere. And yeah, from a certain way of interpreting history, it does make a lot of sense. Especially when you consider how much money is at stake and how many people stand to benefit from it. I'm almost back with agreeing with it. But who could keep that many people quiet? Not even that many people would need to be kept quiet. And yeah, major newspapers are endorsing a lab leak theory. I'm just going a little bit further. I'm saying it's biological warfare. And I could throw China in the frame. I think I might partially, actually. I could throw the Americans in the frame. I could throw the Brits in the frame. I might not so easily be able to throw the French in the frame, but more easily than them, I could throw the Canadians in the frame, and specifically Trudeau, I reckon. All this environmental and sustainability stuff and Prince Charles's involvement, and this, that, and the other, and realpolitik being what it is, and I know what it is because I've read Marx and Machiavelli and Hobbes and the rest of them and so on. Well, not and the rest of them, but quite a few of them. So, I don't know what to think. Oh, and I defended David Icke, which in Labour Party circles, specifically given his, well, anti-Semitism, and I think it is justifiable to call it anti-Semitism, or Judaic suspicionism, which I think could be aptly conflated with anti-Semitism. I would nonetheless give him the right to speak. Yeah. I don't think the anti-Semitic ought to be given the right to speak. In Britain we have the right to speak given to the anti-Muslim, anti-Christian for that matter, and the anti-all sorts of religious and ethnic groups. Or is David like actually anti-Semitic, or is he more like anti-Mason and anti-Masonic? I don't know exactly. That's the problem. And I've been following David Icke since I was about 12 or 11. Because it interested me, all this conspiracy stuff. And yeah, I mean, I'm a sort of, I suppose, a seasoned conspiracy nerd. And I love all that stuff. I think it's brilliant. You know, it is brilliant to think about these sorts of things. But there are, of course, counter-arguments to be made and more rational interpretations of things, such as, yes, it's possible that bin Laden was a CIA asset, and, you know, and
Saudi oil family who possibly stood to benefit greatly from the rise in oil prices that ensued following the destruction of the World Trade Center, and that a hell of a lot of money was made that way, whichever way you divide the pie or the cake. And yeah, actually I'm not going to redact any of my thought. I just would never do something as stupid as what Milo Yiannopoulos did and defend a child molester. I mean, if there's if there's one truly indefensible position that one can hold on any political topic, I reckon it must be that one. You know, no one goes there, do they? But anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. Bye bye bye. Love you lots. Please vote Castle. If you ever got the opportunity, and thank you very much for watching. Bye bye. Love you.